And welcome back to the Dragon's Tome. My name's Jack.
And I'm Chopper.
And I'm Rob.
And this is the show in which we go through back in time and take a gander at Dragon Magazine's past in chronological order.
Time.
What's that little
Let's do a little Huey Lewis and
Huey
the
Lewis
in the background.
Yeah. Probably 3 or 4 people will get the reference too. Okay, and in this episode we are looking at issue number 9, and it is September of 77, and we are looking at a pretty dope-looking cover, one that I kind of recognized.
I feel like we've regressed in the cover art.
I called it Zardoz, but it's spelled by Bill Hannon. This is right up Jack's alley, this guy.
Is it really? I mean, his hand is super out of proportion.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out.
They got the weirdest peach tree behind him, peach tree,
and a giant peach on the horizon.
It is as alien as you can get. You know, it's got all the hallmarks of like this isn't Kansas anymore. So,
I'm glad he's got the Voyager plate on his chest, though.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? It's got all the symbols.
This is what Voyager turns into.
Oh.
Is this gun shooting blood? Looks like it's got intravenous.
Yeah, it looks like it's hooked to a IV transfusion bag on his arm. I gotta turn my headset away. Oh, look, he's got 3 settings, though. A, B, and C.
Jack, why do you love this guy so much?
I just think it is imaginative and indicative of the kind of stuff I would like to see. Just this wild, unbridled passion of probably someone putting some blood, sweat, and tears into trying making something nice.
We should let's look up who Bill Hannon is. Bill Hannon.
Artiste.
Hannon.
Make sure you put artiste.
He might be a guy who worked at TSR. That's what I'm curious. So far, it's all about the cover. So he did the last issue's cover too. So there you go.
And honestly, for the next few magazines, I don't want to, no spoilers, but we need to spend some time on the covers to pad out to the runtime of this. I was not happy with this magazine.
Oh no, there was some good stuff.
Oh really? This one was actually kind of nice.
Yeah. Well then, okay, Big Shot 1 and 2. Rob? What's so nice? Woo me over.
Well, as always, it's the Dragon Rumbles. Actually, this one's not great. I guess Origin 77 was a bit of a disaster because of, I don't know, but they mention a few things, but...
Wait, Origins was a disaster?
It's 77.
That's unheard of.
I guess there was a heat wave and a power outage in the gym that it took place in. They called it the microwave gym since it was so hot. And there's other things that went wrong that they keep saying, nobody needs to know what else went off, but so I guess it was hellish. If you were at Origin 77, let us know how bad it was. And a new outfit is taking over Origins for 78, so that's how bad it was. They went with new people next year. So there you go. That's what the Dragon's Rumbles was about this month.
Oh, it looks like they tried to move it to Bloomington Normal in Illinois. But I think the Michigan people want it out.
There you go. Damn Michiganders.
Yeah, this is riveting stuff. Yeah, I can see why I was off base for saying this was a dry episode.
That there was all these issues with Origin 77? That is interesting.
Yeah.
Pat, what do you got for your first one?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go back to this ad.
Oh, what ad?
Because this is where it started for me.
What ad is
2
that?
years later. 2 years later, it's the basic set Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, the red box, right?
Two, yeah. Well, this box was, I don't think it was red in the beginning. I think it was
I think it
like
was
a gray.
like
It was just colored.
turquoisey color.
Yeah.
The original one,
But
yeah.
but this came out in 77. I didn't get mine until 78, so.
Yeah,
Or 79. It's got to be 79.
Yeah, so it's the big new step. It's the basic set for D&D, so the real rules, not these demo rules that they've been really playing with for 4 years that everybody complained about. This is what D&D as we know it, kind of. This is where it starts right here.
Yeah, $10.
Big box set.
Big box set. You got the dice, because remember we were talking about how hard it was to find dice last time.
Revised rulebook. Monster and treasure assortments for levels 1 to 3. Ooh.
Ooh, let's keep on the Borderlands. That's what that came out of. And then, which I don't understand, because if you've played Keeps on Borderlands, there's not level 1 or level 3 monsters in there. There's like level 6 monsters in there.
They did definitely make it hard back then.
It was much to kill, but I was glad to finally see that this is coming out.
Yeah.
So
we're starting to move forward.
We can assume timing-wise, this was probably released at Origins, like kind of a rollout situation.
Probably
Yeah,
it was
somewhere. I don't know if it's this magazine or if this magazine or a different one. They said there was a lot of debuts at Origins. That Origins was becoming more like Gen Con, where people took it seriously. So yeah, I assume this was debuted at Origins.
So
there you go.
Very nice. Okay, I guess that leaves me to take a gander here. And on page 24...
I had to jump way down to the bottom, so I have to scroll all the way down. 24. Where are we? There we are.
There you go. Roll that.
Oh, this is the odd one, yeah. I started reading this and I was like, this is a lot of words.
It's a lot of words. It's called The Fastest Guns That Never Lived.
I took one of mine.
And it is... The title is wrong in the fact that they go for people who did live, but they name the people, the actors,
It's like
not
the actors.
characters.
Yeah,
not the
that's what I was
characters.
confused about, yeah.
So these people definitely did live, like Lee Van Cleef did live. So
I think they're talking about the characters that were, because the way it looks like is they converted their real life people into Boot Hill characters.
so they took the actors, gave a little bio, what they did in the past, and what roles they played as gunfighters. This is a part 2, so I
don't know where part 1 was.
Part 1 was
never
in
saw
the,
part
no,
one.
it was in the, it says right in the thing, doesn't it? It was in the, other magazine. What's the other one called? Little Wars. It was in Little Wars, the part 1.
Oh. I hope that stops soon, because we don't have Little Wars.
Yeah, it does.
and we're
stop
not starting a Little Wars podcast.
No.
It'd be confusing. But sometimes they use the actual names, because it says the Durango Kid portrayed by Charles Starrett. Why didn't they say Charles Starrett? Like, it's really odd. Whoever didn't edit this didn't edit it.
Well, they also did the same thing with the Cisco Kid and Poncho.
In Poncho too,
Yeah.
and they do admit that they did break their own rules for a moment. But I just thought it was interesting that they looked back, and in the 70s, the Western genre for movies was still alive and kicking, but it wasn't like the heyday.
It wasn't 60s. Yeah,
No, but they definitely had they had, what is that? Bonanza was still up and running in the 70s, pretty strong.
but that was coming to the end, I think, even then.
Yeah, near the end, but
Like, all the Clint Eastwood movies had been already done, I think, by
Lone
then.
Ranger was still either was syndicated or done by then.
But I agree, 60s was more cowboy stuff. But this is all for Boot Hill, so Boot Hill is the TSR game that they're trying to add stuff
push.
to. So.
Which I liked, because I also have that game.
But my point being, these are people who had enjoyed the movies and stuff like that, and 10 years later were able to then make a role-playing game that kind of, something that they'd grown up with, a little bit of nostalgia, and it looks like I've never played Boot Hill, and I don't know, why you would need to add Rocky Lane to the game, but I thought this was interesting that someone was taking the time to do this.
Yeah, it's a odd choice, but it's. I wish it done by characters, not by actors. That's why I kind of left. Like at first I was like, "Oh, this is interesting. I'll read all about these characters," and then I was like, "Oh, this is the actor. That's weird." So then I fell off the boat right there.
But I guess in that point, you could still make an argument that it's the character because it's them.
Well,
just not using their not using their character name.
I wonder why they did that. That's such a weird thing. It's not like it's official or something where they had to avoid copyright or something like that.
I don't think so. I think it was someone trying to be clever and then they got away from him.
Brian Bloom, you failed us.
Well, because you could see what he's trying to do with just the Durango Kid and Cisco Kid and Poncho.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
That's what I'm saying. I think he just got away from him. Tried to be clever and got away from him.
Except for maybe it's because some of these guys played multiple roles. Yeah. So instead of listing like, oh, this guy played,
you have the same stats for each one.
Yeah, you would just be able to condense it. I don't know, but I thought it was interesting.
That's actually a very good argument, and I think if there was a point to be made, that would be the one, because they played multiple characters.
And probably some of these figures were played by multiple actors as well. So,
because I mean, you're right. Because Lee Van Cleef himself has played very many bad guys in that role, not including his what do they call those spaghetti westerns from Italy?
Yeah,
spaghetti westerns.
It's called the something trilogy.
Yeah,
something about money.
Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Oh, it's one of them.
That is,
and $2 more, Good, Bad, and Ugly, and then there's one other. There's Meal for Sister Sarah.
Fistful of dollars. A few dollars more, and Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Yeah. There is a name for it, Jack. I just can't think of it either. Comment below, please. Tell us what the name for this trilogy is. There you go. Do you want my next one, Jack?
Yes. Let's move on.
Back up to page 5. Because I always find these Gary Gygax articles interesting. I
do too, a little bit. I didn't comment on this one too much, but
because you look into the creator's brain a bit, and it's a messy place, but it's kind of interesting. But this one's all DM brew mixing alignments in D&D, and it starts off kind of defending alignments, and alignment was always an issue, it seems, even back then. And he talks about players killing players because they know each other's alignments and stuff. I'm like, Jesus.
Or ganging up because your alignment doesn't match mine, so we're going to kill you. That was weird.
Yeah.
But I also remember in the beginning, you always had to keep your alignment secret.
Well, because I guess these people are murderers. That's why. And
but I never understood why you had to keep it secret, though.
Well, I think you should know people's sort of alignment by how they play. And that's what they talk like, oh, play neutral at first until you get strong enough to be able to actually play your alignment. Then what's the point of alignments? The whole point of alignments is that's how you should play, right? Which isn't it's a stupid point anyways. Nobody uses alignment anymore.
But there was a good example about taking the cleric and then starting off as a humble and then building up and then getting magnanimous.
But that was all about... That's no longer about alignments. That's about reputation. That's what I found annoying about this article is because halfway through he's like, oh, and then if you're in a city, and it's like, well, no, that you're not about. He's pretty much saying alignments don't matter because everybody does everything for their own good or whatever, and for the good of the community. I think
that alignments now are better played than they were, let's say, back here in September 1977. Because the way he was thinking of trying to play it was just weird.
Yeah,
I think. As a concept, I think it was hard to wrap your head around. Like for this group of people, now it's in the zeitgeist. You can put an alignment chart on with anime characters on Facebook, and hundreds of thousands of people would understand exactly what you meant immediately. Back here, like, he was describing it in a way that maybe was his intent. Maybe it was just the way the meta was for the people he played with.
Yeah, that's
but definitely, he said, if you have one guy whose alignment's different than the party, this is how you try and push that person to meet the rest of the party, or else bad things happen. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess if that's what's working on your table at home, if you've got to get them all the same alignment.
At one point, he even says, don't even tell the DM, because the DM should be impartial and all this stuff. I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
It takes it even a step further to keeping your alignment secret.
Yeah. And, and then the second half's all about reputation of people in cities and how to not cause trouble, pretty much. Yeah. It was an odd article. That's why I thought it was interesting.
Well, as I was reading it, I was thinking, this is kind of an article of how alignments started and then how not to play them.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And one last thing, the picture that accompanies the article.
The GM is Zeus, yeah?
Do you think that is a picture that has been altered to lend itself to the DM, world creating? Like, do you think it always was like what it is now, or someone just went, we just could rub out some of his beard, we'll write DM there, and we'll just write here? I don't know.
Or it was like, at first it was no writing on it, and then it'd be like, well, people can get the point. You got to spell it out. So they put all the writing all over it.
So.
It is definitely, what is that?
I think it was drawn that way, only because we're talking 1977, no Photoshop.
Wow, that's why I think there's an eraser involved. It's also, not charcoal. What do they call it stuff?
Pastels.
So,
yeah.
There you go. He just did a lot of white in the middle to cover up what he did.
Yeah.
Okay. Chopper, what do you got? What's your second choice?
Seeing as Rob and you both took my third and fourth.
Well,
that's good.
I'll just go ahead and skip to the one I have left.
Sure.
Which is on page 6. It's the White Dwarf article advertisement.
I was going to mention this too, yeah.
I do love how this is, you're now watching the evolution of a White Dwarf.
And GW.
White Dwarf and GW itself. GW right now here looks like it's the distributor.
Yeah, it is.
Of TSR for TSR right now in the UK.
In England, yep.
Yep. And it's literally taking all the same articles that we've just talked about and putting them in White Dwarf. They're like 9 issues behind.
Yeah, because the shipping would be astronomical. They were talking about shipping just to the States was crazy, so they definitely not shipping Dragon out to UK. So yeah, White Dwarf started off as just a Dragon magazine reprint. And GW was just reselling TSR miniatures. I remember hearing about that. Like, they were official Ralpartha, I think. Was it Ralpartha or one of those ones?
They were Grenadier.
Grenadier, yeah, for UK. So we're seeing the beginning of GW. The juggernaut is in it. It's like baby Hitler right here. This is what we're seeing right now.
I wonder what where the tipping scale is when.
We'll see. I bet all of a sudden we'll stop hearing about them.
Yeah. And this is issue 1 right here. It shows it's got the same kind of swanky cover art that the Dragon has.
Oh, I think this cover art's way better. They got better artists in England, it looks like.
A full-on beheading? Is that what you look forward to in a cover art?
And like some kind of like bird creatures. Skeksis.
Well, then there's some kind of dragon cat. Looks like it's spewing flame going down the stairs. Maybe that's the real size of. Maybe that's the real size of the Imperial Dragon.
Yeah, we can definitely see that at this point, White Dwarf was a zine of a zine. It was and honestly, if TSR, because in a few episodes, a couple issues, stuff gets brought up about TSR starts thinking about protecting its copyrights and stuff, but for now, Yeah, but for now, it looks like they are free to try and spread the tendrils across the pond and,
Wow,
and
this is
share
licensed,
the
though.
word.
This is
Yeah.
GW is actually
like
licensed under.
they're
from
using it
TSO.
as a way to like spread their, spread the word without having to ship magazines.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that Metamorphosis Alpha is really taken front and center in the White Dwarf, not the Petal Throne.
Yeah. That pedal throne
well,
thing.
Do you think by now the word had gotten out that maybe they should,
I don't know. There's
Now
still
there's more
articles.
articles. Yeah, there's some.
There is, but
yeah, unfortunately,
yeah.
we'll see. We'll see when that drops off too. We'll have to keep track of that.
All right. Well, that was my final one.
Jack, do you got any more?
Well, mine was going to be the White Dwarf ad, but yeah. So that is me. I am tapped again. There was a ton of just.
There's a lot of short stories. There's
yeah.
Finzer family or whatever.
What I call it, the Edgar Allan Poe magician.
Jack.
Was still short thing here.
There's something major in this issue that you wanted to talk about when we started this thing, and you refused to talk about it. Is that what you're doing? This is the first issue with Wormy.
That's not the one I want, though.
Oh, isn't it Wormy? I thought it was Wormy that you liked.
No, Wormy is not my jam.
I was gonna say I don't like Wormy.
It's kind of funny that he's got a Cockney accent. I do have one last one though. Is the Fantasy Forge? They have the not Star Wars. Did you guys see that on page 16? It's the not Star Wars Fantasy Forge, and I just have one little sentence, and it's George Lucas is going to sue somebody right there. That's
it's number
unlicensed.
4. Who made number 4? Archive Miniatures.
Yeah.
No, how could you justify it? Like, there's literally a Chewbacca, Sand People, Darth Vader. Like, on the Banthas, the whole deal. Like,
that's
there's
Darth Vader.
You gotta keep under the radar. I'm sure George Lucas has no clue that these things exist. So, but it does make you appreciate all of these miniatures. Make you appreciate the miniatures we have now, and even over the last 10 years, because some of these are pretty bad.
I mean, has Star Wars taken off yet at this point? I mean, this is the year. The year it came out, right?
That was huge. Yeah, this was the big, where it was in the theaters for.
As the marketing started taking out already.
Yeah, this was the very first Christmas is when they didn't have the toys because there was such a demand. So this is right in the heart of the original Star Wars.
So somehow someone was able to watch the movies, get the sculpting, and have something out that.
I guess we should appreciate that this is 77, like you said. This is just months after the movie came out, and they've already sculpted them and pewtered them up, or white metal. I guess it was pewter back then, probably lead.
Yeah. I see what looks like Princess Leia, but I don't see any other heroes besides Chewbacca.
The very last one is supposed to be Luke, I believe. On the far right-hand side. I believe that's supposed to be Luke, and it's supposed to be Obi-Wan, I think, next to him. So we're not saying the sculpt's great.
No, because honestly, I can't recognize which one's supposed to be Jar Jar Binks. Like, if I was going to model them up, I would.
And notice there's no Han.
Go for a fan favorite.
There's no Han, which is funny.
There's no Han, but there's 2 Jawas.
And there's weird. And there's that little creature over there. I don't know. Anyways, that was my last one. Anybody else want to get anything?
No. We have to take a game with some ads.
Yeah, actually, I did. Since we're going to ads.
Yeah, we're going to ads now.
That's where I was going to go to.
What's that?
I wanted to point out where was it again?
Which group? I can tell you. They're all pages.
Better not be mine.
Just tell me the number, and I'll tell you the page.
Actually, no. It might not be in this issue. It might be in another issue.
Yeah. Jack, what's yours?
Mine is on page 10. It's a massive war game of science fiction conflict called Quasar.
It's a great ad.
I was like,
now the cover of the Quasar has phallic ships.
Bird.
Phallic ships for sure. Those are the vibrator ships.
They are vibrator ships cresting Darth Bird's head.
Bird.
It's Darth Bird fighting Captain Marvel.
Or Adam Strange. It looks like Adam Strange. Yeah.
But again, that's the kind of wild fantasy ride I want to be on if I'm playing role-playing games.
I think once again, we're making fun of this, but I bet it is based on Star Wars. Saying all that stuff, I bet there's lightsabers and stuff. Somebody watched Star Wars and like, I'm going to make an RPG about this.
I think this is a war game, though, so I think it's like starships and stuff, because it's got 840 die.
Oh yeah,
it's got 8 charts though, so it's gonna be one of those games.
18 square feet of playing area. Jesus Christ.
That's what I wanted to bring up. It's 4 maps that fit together for 18 square feet.
That doesn't divide correctly.
I don't know how big that is in freedom meters. But that seems excessive, doesn't it? 18
square feet it's at least a 4 foot by 4 foot square. That would get you 16. That would get you 16 if you did 4 by 4 squares.
Yeah, 4 foot by 4. So it's like 5 by 4, pretty much. Something like that. Well, a little less. 4.5 by 5 or 5.5 or something like that. Or 4.5 by 4.5, something like that. Big. Anyways.
Yeah, so that's why I was going to bring it up, because that seems excessive. 840 die-cut counters, charts, maps, and good on you, Excalibur Games. Good
playing a miniature game like King's War or something on a 6x4, okay, but playing chits on a 5x5, that's crazy.
That's called Squad Leader and Squad Leader Advanced.
And if it is space, it'd just be a black board. There's nothing on it.
It's got. I'm sure it's got hexes.
Maybe. Any other?
I do remember ads? My ad I wanted to look to was on page 26.
26.
And it was. This is what started me down the road of Michael Moorcock.
Oh, Elric, yes.
From
the Chaos.
And so, just so you know, this is Chaosium.
Yeah. We talked about this before when they did the other game, Nomad Gods.
Yeah. And then they and below it is all the world's monsters, which I think might be the level in the starting of the Elder Gods, I think, yeah?
No, this is just D&D monsters. The Call of Cthulhu is the very first Lovecraft one, when Peterson creates that. That's a couple of years off, I think, still. Or at least a year.
I did love the whole Elric series, and I never knew how to pronounce it. I've heard people pronounce it Melonbone or Melnimity.
I've always said Melbourne.
Melbourne. I do like Melnimity.
I just
so I'm going to start calling Melnimity.
He's from Australia. That's what I've always assumed. So, yes, Elric. I read the Elric books back in the day. Good stuff.
Is that an accent goûté over the top of that E?
Yep.
It looks like.
Well, then I don't know.
That was fun.
I don't know if this was a role-playing, but this looks like it was a war game, too. Because you get a map of the Young Kingdoms, you get playing pieces, a deck of magic, and 8 sheets of Battalia sheets. So that leads me to believe that it's another...
War game? It could be, yeah.
War game.
Although Chaosium, I'm not sure Chaosium did war games, but...
They might have. Remember, this is the beginning of
early
Chaos
times. Yeah.
This is when they were still stationed. When they were still out in California before they moved to Michigan.
Albany, California. Yep. Well, there you go. Anything else? Anybody else got anything, Jack?
No, that's it for me.
Wrap us up.
Okay. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us. This has been episode 9 of the Dragon's Tome. And anyone want to give their socials, their deets? How do we get a hold of you people? Or do you not care?
I thought you were asking for social insurance numbers.
Yes. And also we do want to update your car insurance, the warranty. So we're going to be calling you all individually. Chopper, you got anything you're up to that you want to share?
Not too much. Mobile Arm Radio.
No, you
Check
can't
it
see
out.
I'm dropping stuff.
He's
up
got
here.
the shirt on.
You can't see it because there's going to be a banner right here. You can't see it.
You can't see it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
But
okay.
you know, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button, hit the notification button, subscribe to Dragon's Tomb and Mobile Arm Radio.
Oh, yes, Mobile Armor Radio. And, we have
That's all I got.
team building exercise for if you enjoy Dead Zone, a miniature skirmish game from Mantic Games. We've been building lists and ranting about the new version 3.0 that just came out. And Jack and I and Coach do that one. Mobile Arm Radio is me and Pat and Brian. It's just combinations everywhere. What about you, Jack? You doing anything with your time off?
Not a thing. Nothing.
Sleeping?
You can never find me either.
No.
So,
Is this another
so
test?
let me try.
It's just another test.
You'll find his father. You won't find him. Stop harassing him.
That's right. So thank you all for listening, and meet us again back here, same time, same channel, for episode 10. That's gonna be a good one.